Oh, hey, Bill. What do you think of mentorship?
Everyone needs a coach.
What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how I found millionaire mentors and convinced them to coach me every month. These mentors helped me build my own business, Contact Out, to 8 figures in revenue. If you watch to the end of this video, I'll show you how to get a mentorship session with none other than Bill Gates himself. All right, let's get started. How to find mentors. The first mentor is James Clear. James is a New York Times bestselling author of Atomic Habits, which has sold 15 million copies around the world. So how we got in touch with James is my co-founder, Ari, sent him an email through his contact form just saying, hey, I'm Ari, co-founder of Conscious Ed. We're a not-for-profit university trying to teach life skills like mindfulness, happiness, purpose. And I'm a longtime reader of your site, just reaching out to ask for mentorship, specifically on how we can grow our community similar to jamesclear.com. Happy to send you $500 for initial chat on Skype. And James responded saying, hey, great, like my consulting rate happens to be $500 and send a PayPal to this. And we booked in a time with James. So the takeaway is here, one, offer money. You'd be surprised at how many millionaires would be happy to talk to you for $500 to $1,000 per hour. And the value that I received from Call of James is worth like much more than that. The thing is that like half the people I offer this to don't even accept the money, but offering money legitimizes your request and ensures that you value their time. Second takeaway is to ask something very specific. So for James, it was knowledge around how to build a community and how to build an audience around his blog. The second mentor is Santosh Sharan. Santosh graduated from Harvard and he's best known for being the second in charge at Zoominfo, where he helped grow the business to a $10 billion listing on the NASDAQ. Zoominfo is our biggest competitor. Prior to that, Santosh also founded his own company, KaiSense, where he developed the technology that is now incorporated into 1 billion devices as a part of Apple Siri and other voice recognition. So how I found Santosh was I was reaching out to ex-employees of every single one of my competitors because I wanted to learn what my competitors do. So I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. And typically past employees are more open to chatting because they're not under any confidentiality agreement. You can find people's email addresses by using Contact Out. We have emails for 75% of the world's professionals and over 300 million people. With Santosh, I got lucky because one of our team members had worked with Santosh and he introduced me. So I would open with a message that is like, hey Santosh, I'm Rob. I'm an Australian tech entrepreneur. This is my LinkedIn. We're building Contact Out. It's a sourcing tool similar to Zoominfo, but targeting the Australian and UK markets. So just a little bit about me. You can probably brag a little bit as well, like tell them about your accomplishments, be like, hey, this is our revenue. This is what I've done in the past. And then yeah, again, specific asks or would greatly appreciate your mentorship, specifically on how to do sales for data tools and the insights that you have gained from your experience working at Zoominfo. Again, offering money for their time, like $500 for their time. So besides paying people, what are some other ways that you can get people to agree to mentor you? So we got to think about what can we offer people and how would we be able to help people? And one way is to help people promote their personal brand. Here's an email that I sent to the head of recruiting at Mckinsey. I offered to interview her. I was like, hey, Jesse, we're doing an interview series of recruiting leaders from Netflix, Google, McKinsey. Would you be open to a 10-minute interview? And I'll share it with Contact Out's audience. We have like 1 million members or however many members you have, and it'll help you build your personal brand. And during the interview, you could just ask them exactly the questions that you're going to ask if you're seeking mentorship. And in that way, you help them and they also help you. Another angle on helping people promote their personal brand that works really well with famous people, which is how I got authors like Adam Grant, New York Times best-selling author, as well as James Altucher, who is another New York Times best-selling author, to respond to my emails and to answer questions that I asked them that I then included on my blog, is the expert opinion angle. So you email them, you're like, hey, this is who I am, and I'm writing an expert opinion piece on my blog, and I'd love to get your expert opinion, and I think it would help many aspiring writers, in this case for writing. So you gotta make sure you pick a topic that the expert is deeply passionate about, and you write questions where the expert can answer these questions within 5 minutes, because they don't want to spend too much of your time, and then you want to emphasize like all the people that they could be helping and how it build their personal brand. And you can tell them, hey, I'll like reference you and I'll provide a link to your site and I'll help promote you to my audience. So yeah, with this approach, I managed to get 30 authors to reply to me, and perhaps 4 of them were New York Times bestselling authors. So even with really famous people, it works. So the best part about this approach is you can follow up after the article is live and you could be like, hey, the article's live, I'd love to get your thoughts. And most of the time, people would share it with their audience. So not only do you get free mentorship, you get free content for your blog by like experts that have like a really big brand, but you also get free promotion. And all you're doing is appealing to people's expertise and making them feel respected, obviously helping them promote as well with your audience and the blog that you have. It's a great like win-win, and it's the start of like a relationship. Like once you've got an expert opinion piece, then you built a relationship and you can follow up and be like, hey, maybe we can arrange like a mentorship arrangement. We could just do 1 hour a month and, like $500 or something like that, just something really lightweight. I got so much value out of talking to you or out of your opinions the last time. So who do you ask for business mentorship? Whenever I'm starting a new business, I would break my business plan down into product, hiring, marketing, sales, and then I would try to find people that have done each of those areas before. So a company that has built a similar or adjacent product to mine, so we're like a email and contact data tool, so maybe like other tools like that or email outreach tools that have hired a similar size team in a similar geography. So other companies that have hired in Southeast Asia and have like a remote sales team in Europe. Marketing, so experts in channels that I want to use. So we use SEO, so I'm going to find other companies that do SEO, to recruiters and to salespeople. The sales process, so I spoke to Doug Hall, who was the first sales hire at Glassdoor and was the vice president of sales at one of my competitors. Beyond business, I think basically any expert that you want to learn from, the author of an interesting book you just read, like a podcast guest that you just listened to, whatever it is that you're trying to learn, somebody has done it before, so ask them. Don't start from zero, just build on all the knowledge that, humanity has already accomplished, but before you start inventing your own thing. So before you start the mentorship session, read their blog, go through all their content, watch the podcast so you can ask intelligent questions. Now moving on to what would you actually ask in a mentorship session? So I like to get really, really specific. I ask them about their experience, what they did, and I'll try not to ask them to solve my problems or to provide opinions on problems that my business is facing, because they don't have the context and they wouldn't have spent as much time as me. Whereas it's really easy for them to talk about things that they have done from the past, and from their experiences and stories, I'm able to extrapolate lessons that I can selectively apply to my business. So let's take an example. For Santosh, who had helped build the product at Zoominfo, I was asking things like, how do you source phone number data for the USA? So they're a contact data product. They provide emails and phone numbers for salespeople. Where did the phone numbers come from? Did you source data from companies like PIPL, Spokey, or People Finders, all this like consumer data for phone numbers? Like how accurate was it? What are some other sources? Can we get data off of LinkedIn? Is there intent data? So you get the picture. Pretty much like, how did you build the product? Where did you get things from? And then, so one method that Zoominfo got data from was this community contribution. So when you sign up as a salesperson, you share your inbox and then you share the contacts in the email signatures in your inbox. And on average, every person, every sales rep has about 20,000 email signatures with phone numbers and emails, and they kind of crowdsource that to create like a platform. So that was one thing that I learned from Santosh and we copied and implemented as well. Onto the second example, which is with Doug Hall. So Doug Hall was the first sales hire at Glassdoor. So I was asking very specific questions around like, hey, what sales collateral and training materials did you create? Can you show me examples? How did you train the new reps? How did you source the new reps to hire? How many meetings do you have? How often? What performance metrics to track? What were the compensation plans? So things like that, very specific. And whenever they gave an answer, I would dig deeper into, okay, like exactly what did you do? Show me the sales script, show me like the questions that you ask in an interview, and just really diving deep and holding nothing back. All right, so you had your mentorship session. How do you follow up and build a long-term relationship where you can convince a mentor to coach you for 1 hour per month? The best way I found to do this is just to be thankful and be like, hey, I got a lot out of this session. Would you be open to coaching and mentoring me for an hour a month at $500 per hour? Or depending on the seniority of the person, I mean, you could try a lower amount, like $200, or you could ask them, hey, at whatever rate that you think is suitable. And yeah, I find that, typically when I start a business, I might have like up to 50 mentorship conversations. Only a fraction of those, I find that, I learned so much from this person that I want to like keep them in my life for a longer term. And eventually you just collect like mentor in every area of business, like growth, sales, product, as well as in life, like people management, mental health, family, productivity, learning. And you create like a personal board of directors that you could talk to, every couple of months. And then as you develop these mentor relationships, what I found is 3 of my mentors, Santosh being one of them, we actually ended up working together after a couple of years, because if you talk to someone like 1 hour, every month, you really get to know them and you talk more than just business. I'll ask Santosh about like family, about philosophy, about how to learn, productivity. And yeah, it's the same with Jeff. He was the head of growth at VIP Kid, which is a $4.5 billion Chinese unicorn. And Doug Hall, who joined us as our head of sales. And as I mentioned, he was the first sales hire at Glassdoor, where he also helped build that to a unicorn status. So I would have never dreamed in my life to be able to convince some of these folks at their caliber to join me in my business. I mean, I'm some dropkick from Australia. I don't even have a university degree. Yeah, g'day mate. You wanna join my business? I'll give you a kangaroo burger. Here's how you get a mentorship session with Bill Gates. Alex Banayan was a 19-year-old medicine student. He emailed Bill, no response. So then he went to conferences. First, he ambushed Tim Ferriss in the bathroom. Tim took a liking to Alex, and then he was introduced to Chi Lu, who was a vice president at Microsoft, who introduced him to Bill Gates' chief of staff. And eventually, he managed to get a mentorship session with Bill Gates. You can read about it in a book called The Door that Alex wrote about his experience. That's it, guys. Best of luck in finding mentors, learn, build relationships, and build businesses. This video is part of an actionable series on how to build your business step by step. If you got value out of this, then check out my channel for my other videos in the series How to Build a Business.